When Carson Schwessinger, the Defensive Rookie of the Year, says Shedeur has it, that's not hype. That's someone who sees him every day. So the real question is, are the Browns ready to believe him too?
Around. This is what Carson Schwessinger had to say. Being able to go in there and run the offense as a rookie, it's a hard thing to do. Schwessinger said of Sanders on The Insiders. As somebody who's calling the defense, I think that doing that on offense is a lot bigger of a job. And I have a little bit of understanding there in what it takes. Being able to do that and have poise, and then you see growth every week. That's really what you can ask for.
Two running backs were really good, including Quinshon Judkins. Mason Graham had a really good year. Harold Fannin. You also had two rookie quarterbacks in the building, one of whom, Shedeur Sanders, finishes out the second half of the season. What, if anything, have you seen, albeit a small sample size from Shedeur at this point, to make you believe that this team can go places, go to the playoffs, maybe go to a Super Bowl with him as the quarterback back?
I think, like you said, the rookie class as a whole played great, and I think that's something that we really can build off because we have guys, in all levels of the field. And then just from him specifically, being able to go in there and run the offense as a rookie, it's a hard thing to do. I think, as somebody who's calling the defense, obviously I think doing that on offense is a lot bigger of a job, but a little bit of understanding there and kind of what it takes. And so being able to do that and have the poise and then you see, growth every week. And I think that's really what you can ask for is, every week the rookie class as a whole was just getting better. And I think that's the plan building into this next year.
You got the best defensive player in the draft at 33. Carson Schwessinger now on the season has 111 tackles. That is the most by a Browns rookie in franchise history. No rookie defender has had more tackles ever than Carson Schwessinger. And he is also just 7 tackles away from becoming the Browns' all-time single-season tackles leader as a rookie. All time. Right now, that spot is currently held by DeQuell Jackson. Back in 2011, had 116 tackles. So 7 tackles in the last 4 games here, and Carson Schwessinger will be the new franchise leader. All time, most tackles in a season. I imagine that he gets that top spot on Sunday, given he's only 7 tackles away from it, and he has had 10 plus tackles in each of the last 5 games. And he has 10 or more tackles in 7 out of the 13 games for the Browns this season. And this is a guy that suffered a high ankle sprain. Never missed a snap, never missed a game. He's unreal. Carson Schwessinger is a different type of football specimen. He is unique, and we are freaking lucky to be able to watch him in a Browns uniform. The team sucks. I get that. The record blows. We do stupid crap like we did on Sunday. But at the same time, there's still things to watch with this team that are exciting, that are going to be memorable and historic, and you don't want to miss it. Carson Schwessinger is one of those things.
Let me ask you something real quick. What does it tell you when the guy who just won Defensive Rookie of the Year, the guy who spent every single practice, every single game going up against that offense, what does it tell you when he is the one standing up and saying, I believe in that quarterback? Because Carson Schwessinger just did exactly that, and people are sleeping on how big this actually is. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to look at Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns completely differently. Let's get into it.
To protect Shedeur Sanders.
We're 31st in the last power rankings I looked at. Just give me your general overview of the Browns as we sit here in the offseason.
Yeah, I think my general overview is this is going to take a couple more years to fix. Don't expect it to suddenly happen in 2026.
Nobody wants to hear that. Go ahead.
I know, but the biggest issue is the quarterback position, and it's a terrible year to need a quarterback. And apparently the 2027 draft has a lot more quarterback talent in it than the 2026 draft does.
First, let's talk about who Carson Schwessinger is, because his opinion doesn't just come from nowhere. This man came out of UCLA as a second-round pick. Nobody was handing him anything. He walked into Cleveland, earned a starting job from day one, became the defensive play caller as a rookie, and finished the season with 156 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 3 pass deflections. 156 tackles as a rookie. Let that sink in. And for that, he was named the NFL's Defensive Rookie of the Year. Rightfully so. This is not a guy who is just talking to talk. This is a guy with credibility. This is a guy who earned the right to have his opinion mean something. So when Carson Schlesinger speaks on Shedeur Sanders, you listen. Now, let's be real about the situation in Cleveland, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. The Browns' offensive line was an absolute disaster last season. We're talking 31st in the league. Wyatt Teller is gone. Joel Bitonio, one of the best guards in the entire NFL, is out there right now deciding whether he's going to retire, hit free agency, or come back. And if I'm Joel Bitonio, honestly, I'm going ring chasing somewhere like the Chargers. I don't blame him one bit. And into that mess, that broken, patchwork, struggling offensive line, the Browns threw 2 rookie quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel got the first shot. Shedeur Sanders eventually took the job from him midway through the season. Neither guy set the world on fire. Sanders threw for 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns in 8 games. That's not jaw-dropping. But here's the thing people keep ignoring: the context. You cannot evaluate a quarterback in a vacuum. You cannot judge a man when he's running for his life on every single dropback with receivers who aren't making his job easier, behind an offensive line that gave up pressure in one of the highest rates in the entire league. The defense had weapons, the offense did not. And yet, Shedeur Sanders still showed more fight, more poise, more ability to make something out of nothing than his competition. That matters.
I know, but the biggest issue is the quarterback position, and it's a terrible year to need a quarterback. And apparently the 2027 draft has a lot more quarterback talent in it than the 2026 draft does. So it's a good year to, shore up foundations in other areas, and then hopefully go out and get the quarterback in 2027, and then you've rebuilt.
Doesn't it feel like it changed? That's the case, although almost every year, Aaron, is where you start to assess a quarterback class.
Here's where it gets real. Schlesinger was asked about Shedeur Sanders on The Insiders, and here's what he said, in his own words. Being able to go in there and run the offense as a rookie is a hard thing to do. As somebody who's calling a defense, I think that doing that on offense is a lot bigger of a job, and I have a little bit of understanding there and what it takes, being able to do that and have poise. And then you see growth every week. That's really what you can ask for. Now, read those words again, slowly. He said, growth every week. Every week. This is the guy on the other side of the ball, the guy whose job it is to stop that offense. And what he saw, week after week, wasn't stagnation. It wasn't the same mistakes on repeat. He saw improvement. He saw a young quarterback learning on the fly, adjusting, growing up in real time in the most unforgiving environment in professional football. That's not a small thing. That's everything. Because when a rookie defensive player of the year, someone who competed against Shedeur Sanders every day in practice, when that guy looks at you and says, I see it, I believe in it, that's the most authentic endorsement you can get. That's not a coach trying to protect a draft pick. That's not a GM trying to sell a fan base. That's a peer, a competitor, someone who had every reason to be skeptical and chose not to be. Denzel Ward believes in Shedeur. Myles Garrett believes in Shedeur. And now Carson Schlesinger believes in Shedeur. That's your starting defensive captain, one of your best cornerbacks, and the defensive rookie of the year, all on the same page. You think that's a coincidence? Or do you think maybe they're all seeing something that the outside world is too quick to dismiss? Now, believing in someone isn't enough. Talent isn't enough. We've all seen that movie before. The Cleveland Browns have to do something this offseason. They have to give this kid a real chance. The number one priority has to be the offensive line. I've been saying it. Get Tyler Linderbaum. He has history with new head coach Todd Monken from their time in Baltimore. He is one of the best centers in the entire NFL. I don't know exactly how you make the money work, but you figure it out. You figure it out because protecting your quarterback is the offense. Draft picks? Use them on the offensive line. 2 first-round picks? I'm not mad at it. They have 2 first-round picks. Swing both of them on the trenches. Shore up the foundation. Give Shedeur a wall in front of him, and then let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I think my general overview is this is going to take a couple more years to fix. Don't expect it to suddenly happen in 2026.
Nobody wants to hear that. Go ahead.
I know, but the biggest issue is the quarterback position, and it's a terrible year to need a quarterback. And apparently the 2027 draft has a lot more quarterback talent in it than the 2026 draft does. So it's a good year to shore up foundations in other areas.
New head coach Todd Monken has already shown he's a fan of Sanders. That relationship matters. That trust matters. But the front office has to back that up with real decisions, real signings, real commitments. Because here's the uncomfortable truth that some analysts are pointing to. 2026 might not be the year the Browns compete for a Super Bowl. The 2026 quarterback class is thin. The 2027 class looks loaded. The smart play might be to invest in infrastructure this year, protect and develop Shedeur this year, and then come out swinging in 2027 with a quarterback-ready team around him. Sometimes building the right way means being patient when every instinct is screaming to rush. I want to zoom out for a second, because this is bigger than football. Shedeur Sanders has dealt with more noise, more doubt, more outside criticism before he ever took an NFL snap than most quarterbacks face in an entire career. The draft process, the questions about his father, the questions about his character, the questions about whether he was really an NFL quarterback or just a product of a system. And yet here he is, in the league, starting games, growing week by week in the eyes of people who play the game at the highest level. That stuff doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of work, because of mental toughness, because of the kind of character that doesn't fold when everything around it is falling apart. Carson Schlesinger saw it from the inside, from someone who goes to war in that building every single day. And sometimes that's all you need. One person who is really there, really watching, really paying attention to stand up and say what everybody else was too scared to say out loud. Shedeur Sanders has what it takes. Now, Cleveland just has to build the team around him. That's the video. If you believe in Shedeur Sanders, drop a comment below. Let me know where you're watching from. If you think Cleveland is going to figure it out in 2026, or if you think this is a 2027 story, I want to hear your take. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and share this video. It means everything to the channel, and it helps us keep bringing you this kind of content. Keep the vision alive. I'll see you in the next one.